This video is going to go over the basics of the Lessons tool in Sakai. The Lessons tool is used for all types of courses, but most often for hybrid and online courses. If you did not add the Lessons tool during worksite setup, you can get back to the tool list by going to Site Info and then Manage Tools. The Lessons tool is under the Content Sharing Tools option. Scroll to the bottom and hit Continue, and it's going to ask you what you want to call this. Normally I end up calling this Week 1, or you can have Lesson 1, it's up to you, or you can just keep it Lessons for now and change it later. Then hit Continue, and then Finish. You will see the Lessons tool show up at the bottom of your list, and the icon is a book. So let's click on Week 1, and you will see some instructions on the page. Right now it's blank. If we went to the Enter Student view or Access view, it would tell us there's no items currently visible. So this is the blank page that gives you some ideas on how to get started. So what I prefer to do is to set up the first week with all of the different sections that you're going to have each week if you have a class that has the same type of thing each week, and then make copies of that so there's less duplicating to do later on. So let's get started with some text boxes. Click on Add Content and you can see all the things that you can add. We'll get to a lot of these a little bit later, but let's just start with the Add Text. And I'm going to say Start Date, and we're going to make this beginning of the semester, and when this unit ends, when everything is due. The due date is completely up to you, but I like to put these on each of the lessons pages to let them know that they're in the correct week and when things are due. I like to use the built-in heading 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth. So I'm going to put heading 1 on this. And maybe the topic. Learning the Lessons tool. Okay, this can be heading 2. And maybe some learning goals, and maybe I'll make this heading 3 and just put a bullet list on there. Okay, and I'm going to hit Save. Okay, so now we have this first text block. So next, let's add something for the students to read. So I'm going to go to Add Content. I'm going to add some text, and I'm going to put readings, okay? And maybe some extra text if you want. Now, please read the following for next class, okay? And I'm going to give reading heading format. Okay. One of the other things that I like to do sometimes is in between these areas, I'm going to put this back to normal, you can also put a horizontal line break, which looks kind of nice, which is this button over here. It separates out the areas. So I'm going to say, please read the following for the next class, and hit Save. So let's add a couple of things for the students to read. I'm going to go to Add Content, and I'm going to go to Add Content Links. And you can either choose a file or add a URL. So for the first one, I'm going to choose a file. And you can change the name if you want, but this name is pretty good. I'm going to keep that and hit Save. Okay, so here's a PDF. And I'm going to also add a link to this website that I want them to read. So I'm going to go to Add Content Links, and in this case I'm going to add a URL. And you can see they're a little bit different. This one has a PDF icon and this one has a a link icon. So this is the first chunk, which is the readings. Next, I'm going to have them turn in a short assignment. So again, I'm going to go to Add Content, and I'm going to add some text. I'm going to put in my horizontal bar, and I'm going to call this Assignments. Give it a heading, and maybe some other text. Please compose a Okay, so now I have another header and some brief instructions, and I created this assignment in the Assignments tool, the summary for week 1. So now I just have to link to it. So I'm going to go back to Add Content, and this time I'm going to link to an assignment. So I'm going to choose the assignment and hit Use Selected Item. And again, it puts it right in line so that they can easily go down the page and then turn in that assignment. Next, I'm going to have the students engage in a discussion. So again, I'm going to add a text block, add my divider, call this discussion, give it a heading, and some brief instructions. And then after that, I need to link to the discussion that I already set up previously. So I'm going to go to Add Content. This time I'm going to link to a forum or topic, and I'm going to choose the topic for week 1, and it automatically puts it underneath the discussion area. Let's add a video next. So I'm going to go to Add Content, again add some text, put in my divider, call this video, you can call it whatever you want. And we're going to base the quiz on the video. So I have a placeholder for my video, and I found this video on YouTube, so I need to go to the share options, which I've opened, and I'm just going to copy the URL of this video and go back, click Add Content, and we're going to use the Embed Content on Page. And I'm going to paste, Control V, the video there, and hit Save. So here's my video. At the bottom, we're going to add a quiz. So I'm going to click on Add Content, Add Text again, put my divider, and quiz, and some supporting text if necessary. Okay, and then hit Save. That's going to give our quiz text here. Then we just need to add a link to the quiz. I'm going to go to Add Content, Link to a Test or Quiz, and I've already set up these quizzes under Tests and Quizzes, and click Use Selected Item, and then there's a link to the quiz. At this point, if you need to edit any of these blocks on the side or delete them on the side, there is a button to edit, delete, or add a new item above this one. So I'm going to edit our first one, and really this ended up being more about Bloom's taxonomy. And I'd probably want to modify the learning goals, but I can do that later. So you can edit any of these that you need to. Then maybe looking at this, I realized that maybe the video should go under readings. So to reorder items on the page, at the top just click Reorder, and then you can just drag and drop. So I have my readings here and then the assignments. So I'm going to move the video under the readings, and hit save. So I think that that's a better flow, where they have readings to do, then a video to watch, and then they can complete the assignment discussion and then take the quiz. If you want to change the name of the lessons page itself, you can do that under the cog up here. So it says week 1, and you could call it something different or put the due date on there if you want. There are some advanced options on here about prerequisites and so forth, which I'm not going to go over in this video, but I'm happy to meet with you in person or make other videos if you want to know about some of these. For instance, you could hide the page from users or hide the page until a certain date. So some professors like to turn the weeks on and off depending on the date. It's up to you. When you're finished making your changes, then hit save. Once you get one of the lessons pages the way you want it and you're happy with the way it looks, you can make copies of it for the rest of the weeks. And I find this is sometimes easier than doing blank ones for each week and then going through all of this. It's really easy to delete stuff, harder to add. So under More Tools, there is some options here, and the first one is Add More Pages. So I'm going to call this Week 2, and I'm going to add 14 more pages. And I want to make sure that I check this box to make new pages copies of the current ones, except that subpages are omitted. So hit save on that. Okay, and now I have week 1, week 2, and they're all the same. So week 2 is here, and it's all the same as week 1. So then I would go in to each of the weeks and start changing the dates so that they make sense to the students. So this one would start on the 13th, end on the 19th. It would obviously have some other type of topic and learning goals, so you'd have to go back and fill that in. The readings, again, we could just keep the heading but delete the actual readings that we uploaded. Make sure I have the right column here. And same for the video. Maybe there is no video at all, right? Maybe this week there isn't a video. Maybe there's extra readings or something. So we can delete the video header and the video itself. Okay, the assignments, I haven't made an assignment for week 2, but you can simply go into here and click Change Assignment and choose a different assignment to link to. So they're pretty easy to update once you get the flow and the categories of what you want for your lessons pages. The last thing I'm going to show you is how to rearrange the tools over here. So we have week 1 here, then site info and the different weeks, and I probably want them to be up at the top. So in order to rearrange the tools, you go to Site Info and Tool Order. And then you can just drag and drop. Sometimes it's easier to drop some of these other tools down than to move week 1, week 2, and all that up. Put the grade book right after week 15. Tests and quizzes can go to the bottom. Okay, so we have the home page, announcements, the syllabus, and then all of our weeks, and then the grade book and some extra stuff at the bottom that, because you're linking to items in a lot of these other tools, they shouldn't have to get back to necessarily. One of the tools they may have to get back to is tests and quizzes in order to see feedback if you release feedback, and also assignments. If they turn something in and you gave them feedback in that tool, they'll have to be able to get back to the tool itself. So I'm finished rearranging. I'm going to hit save, and now my site is ready for a little bit more editing, and then it's ready to post.